follow up a tough interview because she did really well.
She's good.
But perhaps continuing on with the questions that we've asked her, obviously practice has kept on another week of practice so far. What have you seen out of your team as far as another week full of road?
We were fortunate to film a scrimmage from Saturday. We played our alumni in a little scrimmage, and we were able to watch that on Sunday. And immediately they went out to practice afterwards and executed a lot of the things that we saw on the film. And so that just shows me this team wants to get better. They want to continue to improve. They aren't going to settle with where we are right now, and just want to continue to grow. And I think that can only help you down the long run.
Talking about that alumni game, I guess it's probably the first time you got to see kind of the scrimmage aspect of your team. What did you like about this year's team in that game?
It's always tough right now to evaluate when it's so early. We have 5 days of practice, and then we're throwing them against essentially, there were probably 5 all-conference players in that alumni team, but they did really well. They battled. We were working hard the entire time. We were. Our seniors and our captains were able to step up and show some leadership, and once you're out there going against somebody else, it's a little bit different than in practice, and so there's a little more sense of urgency to play well and to execute. And a lot of our new players were wide-eyed and were a little nervous, and they talked about having it was not just jitters, it was more than that, and so it was good. You can't simulate that in practice, and so playing somebody else is always a benefit, and so that was something that we took away from with that scrimmage.
So we talked about the freshmen, 7 new freshmen in this year's squad. As far as practice has been going so far, what have you seen out of the freshmen as far as progression?
Right, we have 7 freshmen, 1 JC transfer in Jane Toohey, and then a medical redshirt in DJ Martell, so essentially 9 new faces. And our freshmen are doing great. We have one that's injured, which is a bummer. Jessica Johnson had pulled a hamstring last week, and so she's out, and so we weren't able to see her in practice or in scrimmages. But the other ones are jumping in. We're throwing them to the fire. They have to be able to play, and a few of them are ready to play right now, and so that's always a positive for us. We're going to need them early in the season, and as we all know, our conference starts up in November, and so we have, I think, 2 or 3 games, and then we play a conference game, so they have to be ready to go.
Last week you were talking about rebounding today, but how about in terms of 3-point shooting? I mean, you've got Lisa, you've got Katie, but any of the young people coming up, do you think you're going to help you with 3-pointers?
Yeah, as far as
we have Gama, who's the Bobby.
Yeah. Of our newcomers, Jane Toohey is a great shooter. She can play the point guard as well as the off guard, and when your point guard can shoot it helps things out. They're not able to help off as much, and go and double the paint. We have a couple of freshmen that Sydney Emery led all kinds of 3-point shooting statistics in the state of Washington and at her school. We have, let me think, other freshmen are Jessie Johnson. She's injured. She's a point guard though. Another point guard that can shoot it, and any guard that we bring in usually can. It's kind of one of the things that as you all know, we like to take those, and we think that it's not just the only thing we do. We think that by having those good shooters, it opens up our paint and gets us those touches in the paint as well. But that's something that we recruit. A lot of people ask us, how do you shoot so well? It's like we recruit good shooters, and so it's not a magic formula.
And how about if you would look at the defensive side, someone that's showing you that they really might be someone to put in for some stops?
Yeah, defensive side is an area that at this stage of the game that we're not at the place where we want to be. During our preseason, we mostly work on our offensive stuff, and we do our defensive philosophy a few times, and then once we start practice, we really put that in, and that's something that we saw in our scrimmage. Watching it, like, this is not the way that we want to defend. There were times that it looked pretty good, but just the intensity and the ability to get stops, and not just allow the offense to do whatever they want and then hope they miss. We call it hope you miss defense. We want to prevent those easy shots and force them to take tougher ones. And I think that, like I said, we were watch film and we only had 1 day of practice after that, but that's I can't really say a new person that I think that will step up yet. It's not something that we've been able to see yet, but they're working at it. We're trying to work at it as a collective whole and be more aggressive, take more charges, force people to take shots that they don't want to take.
And as a follow-up to the alumni game, I know you're having a kind of a closed game with CRs. Anything in particular you're looking for with them, or just more of the same evaluation and get people used to the flow?
Right. We have a scrimmage this weekend against Simpson College, and then next week against College of the Redwoods, and both are just like practices. They're not open events, but it's just playing somebody else at this stage of the game. You kind of get tired of beating up on each other, and we know, the offense knows what the defense is going to do, the defense knows what the offense is going to do, but you don't know when you play somebody else. And also just that live game setting, even though it is a scrimmage or a practice, it's somebody else. And so it kind of gets you that, the jitters and the excitement of a game under our belt, because we go to, East Bay to play in a crossover, and then down to Grand Canyon, who is a nationally ranked team. We play them early in the season, and all those preseason games count when it comes March.
Thank you.
Coach, talk about the point guard position if you could. You lost Kayla and Patrice, obviously.
Right. So, point guard position is key in our offense, probably in any basketball coach's offense. It's the primary person. In ours, we don't run a lot of plays that have play calls, and so it's all based on what the point guard does and a lot of point guard reads. And so when that position is new, it kind of stagnates everything if they don't pick it up really quick. Fortunately, the three gals that we have playing it are picking it up, and so that's exciting. That's great for us. Jane Toohey, Jessie Johnson, and Sydney Emery are all battling for that starting spot, and I would feel confident if any of them were ready. Like I mentioned, Jessie is injured right now, so that's a bummer. It's going to set her back a little bit. They all three bring something different, which is great. Jane, like I said, is a great shooter, is really smart. She's a junior, so she has that experience and is ready to handle contact and to be physical and to get us into our stuff. She can manage a team, I think. Jessie is a freshman, really athletic, really quick, can get by people, can also shoot it. And then Sydney is has been a shooting guard all her life. She played point guard in her club team and is really smart basketball player, learns things super fast, and can shoot lights out. And so, they kind of all have a different element, and they're all really good. And so they're fighting. We don't know who's going to be our starting point guard yet, but I'm happy with all three of them.
What's your goal this year for the team? Conference championship, tournament run. Obviously came up short last year. What do you expect with a mix of old and a lot of younger players?
Yeah, it's tough to think about where we want to be in March right now, but that's our goal is to always win the conference. It's always to win the conference, win the conference tournament, get to the postseason. We do have a lot of young players, but we have a core back that is really good. They can match up with anyone in the conference, and so they're trying to lead us. They're trying to bring along the rest, and how quickly the new players can pick it up will probably determine how far we go, and if we stay healthy. As like I said, we do have so many core players in our junior and senior class that they need to stay healthy, and so. But that's always our goal. We're never happy to not go to the postseason or to end up in the middle of the pack.
Final question: your thoughts on Pomona as a travel partner, good or bad?
I like it. I think it's for us. It isn't the challenge of how to get to Humboldt and Pomona in the same weekend. Obviously, it isn't a factor to us because we play them on a single weekend. Whereas any team in the north, it's tough. It's tough to get from Sonoma or Chico or Monterey all the way to Humboldt and then go all the way to Pomona. So I don't know who thought of it, but it's definitely a challenge for the northern school. I think the southern school is probably easy. They get to go play Pomona, go home, sleep in their bed, and then come up here. But definitely for the northern schools, it's tough. But for us, it's fine. We'll play whoever.
It's the time.